Hi again, Kerry here. Again on Thursday, I normally was doing a series of videos about the 6 stocks that I think you should own forever. And I stopped it last week because I thought there was something more important to talk to, and that is the direction of the stock market as a whole. And I think that's where I am again today. I think this is what's important, and that's where I think I can add value to your investment scenario, and I want to focus on that. Yesterday, I brought you back to a chart that I have, Trading Views chart that I have constructed, where I showed you the correlation between national debt and the S&P 500 and my scenario or my understanding of it and what I think the ramifications of it are, particularly in light of Congress right now fighting over whether they're going to raise the debt ceiling or not, and then the China crisis, and then the shortage of semiconductors and the broken supply chain and all this. And I showed you that, and I basically said, okay, now which way is the market going to go from here? And I got to thinking that I needed to go deeper in that, not for you, but for me to understand what is exactly going to happen and how I want to manage my portfolio accordingly. And again, this is something that I've come to realize about the channel that I'm doing. It's to educate you, but it's also to educate me. I made a statement to my wife just today, where in fact, I've learned more to benefit myself financially and to educate myself. I've learned more in the last 2 years than I did in the preceding 70. And the reason is right here. It's right here. It's a series of books that I read. I said this and I'll say it again. Most of us stop reading when reading requirement goes away, and that is when we, particularly nonfiction books, when we graduate from our last level of education, we stop reading. So we stop educating ourselves. And what we've done now to replace that is to come to places like this and take fast feed and say, I don't need to read, I don't need to educate myself. Let that person on YouTube tell me what to do, and I'll just do it and I'll be fine. Well, that's total ignorance. But moving on. So today's video, I want to go back to that chart and give you my logic as to what I think is going to happen and why I think it's going to happen and how I'm going to position myself relative to it. So this is not financial advice. This is instead financial education. And I am not your financial advisor. I don't want to be. I'm not allowed to be. I'm not licensed. So this written message will be my attempt to make sure you don't sue me if I tell you something that I'm going to do and then you follow it and say, well, that wasn't. Watch this and we'll be right back.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay, with that out of the way, let me again summarize the chart that I believe stocks are driven by events. And if we can identify the event and then find out how that event is going to be financed and how the overall financial community is going to react to that event, we can predict what the stock market's going to do. That's the premise of this chart. Take a look at it, let's go through it, and then I'll come back and give you what I'm going to do. So let's watch this. Okay, we're back at the chart that I talked about and went into yesterday, where I showed you the correlation of our national debt with the S&P 500. I'm not going to go back through that and explain that. So if you aren't up to speed, go to yesterday's video and you can see that. But what I'm doing is saying, can I draw a correlation between our national debt and the performance of the S&P 500? And I think I showed that we can. So what I want to focus on today, though, is where are we going from here? This is where we are right now with the S&P 500 at 4292. Is it going down? I suggested yesterday it'll go down somewhere below 4,000, and I changed that from a yellow star to a red star. Whereas, in fact, the other option is it goes up to somewhere above 5,000, and I changed that to a green star. And so I ask myself, if the market is driven by events, what are the events that are going to determine whether it goes up or it goes down? And I'm focusing on the Delta variant, the China real estate bubble, the broken supply chain, and inflation. Okay, so let's play through if those are in fact what's going to happen. Well, the Delta variant is killing people and disrupting our healthcare system and putting people out of work and increasing the price of goods and stacking ships up in the harbors, trying to getting them unloaded, which is, I believe, going to result in inflation. We have the Chinese real estate bubble, which represents 30% of China's economy, whereas in our economy, it represents 7%. And when we had to rescue our economy, we did it by printing money. We took our debt from 8 trillion to 18 trillion to get us out of this subprime crisis. That's $10 trillion for 7% of our economy, whereas China is in a position that 30% of their economy is in jeopardy. So would it be, if ours is 7% and theirs is 30, could we multiply that times 4 and say that China is going to need to print in yuan the equivalent of not 10 trillion, but 40 trillion dollars to rescue their economy? Could we expect that? Well, if that means that the yuan is going to be devalued by a factor of 4 over the next year and a half. Is that realistic? I think maybe. If that is the case, if the yuan goes down 4%, and in September, and last year in 2020, a backpack for my children going to school cost $20, and this year it went up because of the supply chain broken, it went up 40%. So what's that? It went up from 20 to 25. Well, now, if the yuan is devalued by 4, does that backpack cost $100? If it does, what's the net effect of that? Is that going to affect Amazon sales? Are you going to pay $100, or are you going to tell Johnny just keep the backpack he had? Now, take that and put it into any and every other purchase you're going to make that is involved with goods coming out of China. What's that going to do to the price of Amazon? If their sales drop because prices go up and you make non-purchase decisions, what is that going to do to the advertising budget of the company that makes the backpack, who was planning on doing some advertising on Google and Amazon and Facebook? What's that going to do to them? Are they going to cut back their advertising dollars? So would it be realistic for me to suspect that Amazon, Google, Facebook's, anybody in the advertising business, anybody in the retail business, anybody in the car business, because of the Delta variant and the China real estate crisis, their profits are going to go down? Is that realistic? I think it is. And maybe my factor of 4 is all gone and wrong. Maybe it's only a factor of 2. But still, are you going to pay twice as much for that backpack? And what are you going to do about buying a car? if you need a car. Okay, I think you get my drift. Then we go to adding to that is the broken supply chain. We can't get it. And China's turning their lights off, and they can't make it. So what is that going to do to inflation? Okay, we know that, I believe that Amazon's sales are going to go down, that Facebook and Google are not going to get as much advertising, so their sales and their profits are going to go down. So I believe the stock market's going to go down. And I believe inflation is going to go rampant. Is it going to be, what do they call it, the huge inflation? I don't know. But what I also know, I'm confident this is going to happen. What I also know is this is going to happen, is we have discovered as a result of the work that we've done in genome sequencing and AI medical tech, we know that we're going to have a healthcare revolution. So that's causing me to be reluctant to sell my biotech stocks. I know that manufacturing has to come back to the United States. So that's causing me to be reluctant to sell my 3D printing and any robotic stocks that I might be able to find. AI tech is just going crazy. It's helping people in the medical field. I just heard something about, if you've got an idea for a book now, you can just give it to a AI tech and it'll write the book for you. National security. I don't think a lot of people have given any thought to this one. If I can't get semiconductors to get my Ford 150 pickup trucks out of the parking lot, can I get them for my fighter jets, to get them off of Boeing's production line? Can I get them for my aircraft carriers, to get them out of production? I think we got a national security issue. So I believe that there is going to be so much attention in this field, and through technology, AI, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, we're going to hit this red star, and then we're going to rocket to that green star. Because I think this number, the world's going to wake up, or at least the United States is going to wake up and say, it don't matter how much it costs. We got to get these issues taken care of. So that's how I'm looking at this chart. What I'd suggest you do, if this makes sense to you, stop the computer right here and take a screenshot of this and print it and study it. Because I think this is the path of the stock market. And I think it's important for you to either to understand it so you can determine if I'm right or I'm wrong. And then I want to ask you for some help in that. So stick with me here. As you can see, this is a work in progress. I come back to this almost on a daily basis and ask myself, how can I make it better so that I can understand this market better? As I say, I'm at 25% cash. I'm asking myself, should I go further into cash? And I don't know that I have made that decision just yet. As I just told you, if in fact what I say is going to happen, that China just prints the yuan at a 4x multiple of what we did to get us out of our real estate crisis, that the price of goods in US dollars have to go up. And if they go up, will you stop buying them? And if you stop buying them, will the manufacturers stop advertising them? And will Amazon stop shipping them? And will Google's revenues drop? And will Facebook's revenues drop? And will my stock prices go down? So should I sell more of my Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook, and I don't own any Tesla anymore. So should I do that? I don't know. Maybe I'll know in tomorrow's video. I've got to do more work on it. I've got to feel more secure that I'm right and the market's wrong. Now, the market today, the market is acting like, I don't know if this is, you're too young to know this or know this phrase, a cat on a hot tin roof. Imagine a hot tin roof in the baking sun, and a cat's running across it, and its feet are burning as it runs across the hot tin. That's what the market looks like. It's bouncing around like it's a cat on a hot tin roof. It's trying to figure out what's going to happen next. It's reacting to day-to-day fear. It's reacting to day-to-day headlines. Are they going to get the debt ceiling raised, or aren't they? Really, what does that matter? They have to raise the debt ceiling. It's just a political charade up there that Mitch McConnell's saying, you got the votes. If you can't control your party, maybe you need to be gone. Wait a second, Mitch. Who are you doing this work for? You or your constituency? I can tell it has nothing to do with Carrie and Nita Grinkmeyer and their betterment. Come on, people. When are you going to wake up and understand you represent us and what's in our best interest, not in what's in your best interest? When are we going to wake up and get these idiots out of there? I'm not political. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I am a capitalist. And I believe that if you'll take care of me, I'll take care of you, and we'll all be better off. But to fight each other, okay, I got to move away from that. So this is where I'm at. I'm trying, I am gaining more and more confidence that we're going to hit this red star before we hit the green star. And it's my best interest to have as much cash in my account when we hit that red star as I can. Now, how long is it going to take to work through it? It took, if you look at the chart again, it took 5 years for the United States market to recover from its real estate crisis. And our economy is 7% represented by real estate, and China's economy is 30%. So how long will it take us to work through this? I don't know. I'm gaining more and more confidence that we're headed for that red star. Again, I would encourage you, do a screen stop back on there and print this out, and you study it. And I didn't create these numbers. I just drew the violet line and put the words in. Okay, I got to be honest. This is not something that you can say, okay, I'm a genius. I know this. I've been this. No, this is changing. This is a global market. We haven't been here before. I showed you the manufacturing of semiconductors and who did them since 2020. In 2020, China did almost none of them. Now they're doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 45% manufacturing of semiconductors. And Taiwan is second, making up roughly 70% of it. That didn't used to be. The United States basically used to control its own destiny. It's not that way anymore. So there's so many more moving parts. I don't have enough knowledge. I can't read fast enough. I need your help. I'm going to hold a meeting today, actually, at 1 p.m., a Zoom meeting for the members of my tribe, the people who are on our Patreon. And if you want to be there, you got to do it before 1 o'clock this morning. You got to go to Best of Us Investors and get a link to our Discord, and then sign up for the Discord, and then you'll be allowed to attend the meeting and give your insights. Now, I'll do this again at another meeting at 3 p.m. on Friday. So if you've missed the first one, get signed up to be at the second one. Because if you've got any input, I want to hear it. And I can't wait, and I can't handle a flood of emails. So if you want to be a part of this, come join us. It's what we call our tribe. Don't have that book here. It's in the other room. It's our tribe. And if you want to be a part of it, if you think if it could benefit you to the tune of $10 a month, come join us. All right. That's my video for today. And I'll probably have more. I'll probably put more on my chart this evening and share it with you tomorrow. Talk to you. This is important. This is much more important than why. Well, I know why Palantir went up 5%. It's called national security. It's called a broken supply chain. Someone woke up.